Today I'd like to talk to you for just a few minutes about using colored pencils on your models to add depth and detail to your paint job. You know, in this case I'm doing it on a 48 scale Tamiya T55, but it's certainly not limited to armor. I've used this on aircraft cockpits, figures. You could certainly use it on sci-fi, cars, ships, you know, pretty much anything that has paint on it, you can use colored pencils to augment it. And you really don't need to spend a whole lot. You know, the only expensive pencil that's in this stack here is this AK one. And I just bought this because I like the pale green color and I wanted to try it out. But the rest of these come from box sets that I bought at either like Walmart here in the States or Hobby Lobby or whatever, where they come in sets. There's one back here by Fine Touch. There's a couple of Prisma color ones, and then there's one here. This gray one is from Fable Castle and were quite inexpensive. So to use these, obviously the sharp point's helpful. I keep an electric pencil sharpener in my shop. I've chosen kind of a dark brown color. This is from a Fine Touch set. I think I got this at Hobby Lobby where it came with like, I don't know, 8 or 10 pencils, and it's double-ended. It has green on one end and brown on the other, which is pretty handy. So to apply the colored pencil is very simple. It's very relaxing. You can just kind of go around these details, kind of just making little tick marks, just a little bit of pressure. You're making just tiny little marks and tiny little scuffs and things like that. You know, chipping is something that's very subjective in the modeling world, but in my personal opinion, a little goes a long way. You're not looking necessarily, in this case of an operational vehicle, you're not looking for just, you know, wholesale paint failure, just looking for abrasion from use. So around things like these little grab handles and things on the engine deck, you know, adding a little bit of brown to the edges of them, you just want to be real gentle with it, and it's not really, you're not really scrubbing. You know, it's more of a tapping and just little random ticks and scrapes and things like that. Almost like you're abrading it for real, you know, as if you're working on the vehicle. If you think about it like that, it makes a little bit more sense, I think. So you just work your way around the hatches. Think about where the crew would be touching it, where they'd be kneeling down on it or putting parts on it or scraping it, and just work your way around it. I mean, this will probably take you a few hours anyway to work around a vehicle like this. But it's very relaxing. You don't have to worry about paint dry. You're not worried about having to keep your brush sharp. You're just doing the work. You know, the main thing is just kind of keep things in scale and keep them in appropriate areas. You know, again, lifting hooks and corners and hatches, edges and things like that are where you would obviously have abrasions. You can certainly put them out in the flat areas, like on this hatch right here, you know, little short strokes and lines and things like that where maybe parts were drug around. And then I would switch to maybe this lighter color to do some highlights and things like that to kind of emphasize some of the detail. And again, I'm using little or no pressure. It's basically just the weight of the pencil. Dragging softly against the surface here, you can make really minor abrasions and scratches. I've pretty well done this around this entire vehicle so far, just leaving a few little areas for this demonstration. And I'll put up some close-up pictures so you can really kind of see the effect. It's hard to see on camera because it's so subtle and so small, but it really does make an impact on your overall finish. It adds a certain amount of just depth to it. That's really the best word. It adds a lot of interest, you know, where it's not just a flat monotone color. You know, another area is like the hold down straps on these fuel tanks would certainly have scratches and abrasions and things like that around them. So I'm just trying to go along the edge of them, and having a sharp pencil really makes it easy. And in, you know, reality, I would probably spend, you know, an hour doing these two fuel tanks right here. So I mean, it's not necessarily a fast technique, but it's easy and it's relaxing. Metallizer one. Like maybe on the edge of a fender or something like this, where you've got a scratch that goes down to the bare metal, you can add just a little bit of it. You don't really need a lot. Another area might be on these tow cables, where you can kind of highlight the edges of them where they've been oiled and then handled and everything. Again, you really don't need to go hog wild on it. The subtlety of the colored pencils is really what makes them cool. it makes it so that you can really add a lot of variety without worrying about going overboard with your scratches and things like that. So I hope that's helpful for you. I really encourage you to, go pick up a pack of inexpensive colored pencils. Look for earth tones and greens or whatever color you need for your project, I suppose. You could probably, I haven't looked, but I would imagine you could buy some large sets that had, 75 or 100 colors in them that would probably set you for just about anything you needed to paint. So I really encourage you to get some, try them out on your next paint job, and I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised at how much detail you can get out of them. So hope that helps you, and we'll see you next time.